All right.
Welcome to episode number 53 of the Sundowners Golf Club podcast. This episode is brought to you by Travis Matthew. I'm kidding. It's not actually brought to you by Travis Matthew, but that's what I'm rocking after our tournament in Virginia. Matt's got the same. Anyhow, I'm Giovanni. I'm one of your hosts, and I'm here with my co-host, Matt Caldwell. Matt, how are you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good, man. I feel like I've been buzzing around lately. You and I went on our golf trip that we talked about. We did a little, live in Virginia recording, and then we buzzed back, and then I immediately buzzed back out of town and went to Nebraska and played. What did I end up doing? I think I did 72 holes in 3 days. Landed in Denver, jumped in my buddy Jared's truck, guest of the show. We drove immediately to, I think it's called the Homestead. I think it's a little par 68. But don't let that fool you. If you're a Colorado golfer, been out there, the Homestead will eat you up, despite it's par 68 on there. And then we went to Nebraska the next day, played 36 holes Saturday, woke up and played another 18 holes before we came back to Colorado.
That's awesome.
A lot of golf in 1 week, man. A lot of golf.
So, Wild Horse, right? That's the course you played?
Yeah, Wild Horse. I'm forgetting the name of the town. I think it's an older course.
Gothenburg?
Gothenburg, yeah. I get the feeling that it's an older course and got remodeled. Just because of this, there's some signage out on the main highway that's kind of old school looking. It just doesn't look like I don't think you could fake it, right? I don't think you could fake that what do they call it? Patina. I could be dead wrong. But we went out there. If you're an Eastern Washington guy, very similar to Wine Valley. A little bit tighter though. And I think the hazards at Wild Horse, I think were a little bit more tactical. It was a really, really cool course. It had you thinking on tee boxes. There was, you'd look at the yardage book and you're like, okay, I think I know where my aim spot is, but the yardage marker will be like, this bunker's 200 yards out. But then you're standing on the tee box and you're like, it's 200. It looks like it's 350 yards out. There's no way I should be aiming directly at that bunker to go over it. And there's several holes like that, and the pin placement was fun. There's always a bunker protecting it, or a slope off the back of the green. It was a good time, man. I think I hit some of the worst shots the last couple of years and some of the best shots the last couple of years, all in one weekend.
That's unreal. I am aware of Wild Horse, and it's probably a combination of it just seems like it's popping up on the top 100 public golf courses, Golf Digest stuff. I just looked, it's ranked 84 as of,
there you go.
I'm assuming that's the last edition. They did a no laying up, some sort of a no laying up, video deal at Wild Horse. But then also, like, when it does pop up anywhere on my feed or anything, I immediately think of Wild Horse in Pendleton, Oregon, which is nearby to us. So I as soon as you said you're going to Wild Horse, I'm like, yeah, that's the really cool course in Nebraska, but I couldn't tell you anything about it. Couldn't tell you even what it was near. But it looks like an unreal course. And I agree with you. Just looking at the pictures here, like the landscape 100% looks like Wine Valley.
Yeah. And it plays like it too. If you're in the fairway, the fairways are super tight. I'm not a grass doctor. I don't know what kind of grass it was. I'm not that guy. But it lays down really tight. And so if that sort of grass makes you nervous, it's going to beat you up.
Buckle up.
Yeah. And it's another one of those, there's a couple pins, nearish the edge of the green. And if you weren't paying attention, you'd putt that thing directly off the green and be, 5 feet below the pin again and just be chipping off that tight lie. It was fun, man. It was a really good time. The only bummer, and this is I'm not holding it against them, but just for personal experience, they were redoing part of the clubhouse. And so there was no food on site. We couldn't sit down and have some food and chill and relax. I mean, they had
You have a beer at least?
and some like at the turn food, like a hoagie or dogs or whatever. But that was the only minus. I'm not holding it against them. The course was awesome. The staff was awesome. The practice facility is really cool. Really big driving range. And then they have a putting green, and I'm going to keep referencing Wine Valley. They have a putting green that is built for you to go from pin to pin to pin to putt from. And so you have these big slopes where you're putting up a hill, get to the pin, you're putting up a hill and then back down a hill.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's kind of built to kind of have a little bit of fun there on the premises if you're not, ready for your round, or it's post round, you and the boys are just having some brews. So it's a cool place, man.
That is cool.
You're going through there. And I think the price, I want to say it's like $120. So you're playing a top 100 for $120 with a cart. So it's worth it, man. And I know there's a couple other top 100s in Nebraska around there. So if you're going to go through there and do, check some boxes, it's worth it for sure.
Yeah, I'm looking right now at their website. If I were to book a tee time, it would be $87 to play tomorrow morning at 9:45 a.m.
There you go.
That's wild.
Yeah.
Wild out of the
awesome.
wild horse,
Yeah, we did have some fun Saturday, which was our 36 hole day. We played first this little municipal course called River's Edge, and that was another not par 72 course that would just absolutely eat you alive. There was a par 3 at this course, River's Edge. It was like, I think it was playing 245 from the back tees where we were playing. And the green was 8 feet wide, 12 feet deep. And the front left is protected by a pond. And you're like, this is a layup on a par 3. And I think all 4 of us played safe and went short and deferred to chipping on. It was wild to be at a course like that and have to lay up on a par 3, but that's what we did. And then we went off to Wild Horse, like I said, and we got to, I think we were finishing 12 and the wind started to kick up, and a couple of us looked up and saw these dark clouds. I was like, I don't know if we're finishing this round. And we looked at our weather app, and there was a huge supercell headed right for us.
Mm-hmm.
I think we finished another hole and a half, and they hit the horn on us, and we ended up having to sit in the clubhouse for, I don't know, an hour and change before they let us back out so we could finish the last 4 holes. But other than that, there was no hiccups on the trip, man. Nobody got sick. Nobody got in trouble. No police involved. Nobody got food sickness or anything. It was a successful trip. It was awesome.
That is awesome. I just want to make it clear that this is not River's Edge in Bend, Oregon.
Right. We keep naming stuff that's very similar to things that we know in our region.
Yeah. Because we played River's Edge one time in Bend during COVID time. We had a plan to go play Pronghorn and Tethero. It was planned and booked, and then COVID happened, and all the courses in Washington were closed. So we were like, well, we got to go find somewhere to play.
Yeah.
So we planned a trip to Bend, and we get a message from Pronghorn and Tethero, and they said, we're going to just switch to members only for tee time. So we didn't get to play there. So we're like, let's just go anyway. We played Black Butte Ranch, which was kind of cool. It felt a little culty there. Just a weird, premises with all the condos were very similar, kind of geometric shaped buildings.
Yeah.
The tee markers looked a lot like swastikas, and it was just bizarre. Then we went and played, what's the name of, is it Widgie Creek? Does that sound right?
Widgie Creek. That one's super tight.
Yeah,
I mean,
Widgie Creek was so fun. That place was really cool. And then the last one we played was River's Edge, and it was everything I hate about a golf course. Every single hole had some sort of like tacky feature to it that you already know that some of the old longtime members of the course love to show off, but like the first hole is this massive downhill par 4 dog leg left. You don't have a clue where you're hitting it. There's waterfalls everywhere. There's ponds everywhere. Anyway, so we ended up resorting to just like playing golf and like trying to make it as fun as possible and kind of like adding to the tackiness.
yeah,
So we started playing a game where all bets were off. You could just try to mess each other up like on basketball.
yeah.
Like we're talking in backswings, yelling
Noonan.
ex-girlfriends' names and stuff like that. So we had fun, but it was not a very fun golf experience. So shout out to the River's Edge you played.
Yeah, that it was a good play. You know what was funny is we had a tee time at River's Edge for 8 a.m. 8 a.m. was the tee time. So we showed up, with enough time to warm up, check in, hit the driving range, putt some balls. So I think we got there at, I don't know, 7:15, 7:25, somewhere around there. Nobody was there. Parking lot's empty.
That's perfect.
I was like, what is happening? And we're sitting there for 5 or 10 minutes, and the club pro, I assume, the head pro, rolls up in his Hyundai, and he unlocks all the doors and goes in. And we follow him in, and he just was kind of like, yeah, nobody usually is playing this early here, I had to realize that I had to be here to unlock this place for you, and nothing was ready. He's like, driving range balls around the corner in this bin. Just go grab them if you want some driving range balls. It was one of those experiences where nothing was bad. It just kind of added to the experience of the story of I played some weird municipal in the middle of Nebraska. The course is in good shape.
You have a firmly municipal golf course in Nebraska story.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And I would be shocked if I ran into somebody and I was like, oh, I played this course in River's Edge in North Platte, Nebraska. I would put $1,000 that me and that random dude have the exact same story.
Yep. Same experience. Man, so you're right. You've been moving and grooving. I've also been moving and grooving. Feel like a chicken with my head cut off.
Yeah, you do.
Got this awesome new job with my buddy, and it just has me on the road nonstop. So I'm going to be heading to Austin for the third time in 4 weeks. On Monday this coming week. It'll be good though. Amanda's going with me. We're staying for a few nights, so we're going to make a little trip out of it. Have some dinners and stuff. Yeah, and then it sounds like Charlotte might be in the future, so that'd be kind of a cool work trip spot. I've been doing some stuff around the house. I got a new dryer showing up on Wednesday. I had a guy coming out taking measurements for redoing my driveway, expanding my driveway. So yeah, we're moving and grooving over here too.
There you go, buddy.
I don't know if we've talked to. Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, I think you have a competition. I think Wednesday or Thursday, a little golf competition coming up.
Yeah. So we got a little double date. I appreciate the invite. It's gonna be fun. I got to get a babysitter, but we're gonna do Pasco Golf Land, which is a short par 3, longest holes the 9th, which is like 170 yards usually.
I think it's 170. I think I played it last time I played. I think it was like 180, maybe 170.
And I think the shortest hole is like 65 yards or something. So awesome course, fun place to play. We're gonna play where me and Matt do the golf swinging, and then the girls are gonna be the ones putting. And there's no gimmies. Every putt counts, and losers buy in the first round of drinks at dinner afterwards. So yeah, that's gonna be a lot of fun.
Well, I have to tell the story of last night, right? So we were texting back and forth about making this plan. And before we had not really cemented, but nearly cemented that it was going to be the double date competition where the ladies putt. I mentioned to Mallory, I said, hey, if we do this, if we go to like Columbia Point or Sun Willows or something like that, we'll do this competition. And she's like, well, if we go to Pasco Golfland, I do want to play. Like, I like Pasco Golfland. That's built for me. I would like to play. And so you mentioned the exact thing that I was wanting us to do. And so I say, hey, just so you know, like, if it's not a problem, Mallory might want to play her own ball. And you jokingly go, nah, tell her she's going to putt.
No, I said, tell her to kick rocks is what I said.
Kick rocks. There you go. So I read that text and I laugh, and me and Mallory already know that that's what we're going to do. But I was like, what we should do is I'm going to like secretly record a conversation between you and I because I essentially am trying to call your bluff, right? I'm trying to get you to feel bad for me being mean to Mallory. And so I was super aggressive in my opinion, where I just told her like, you can practice some other time, you're going to putt, and that's the deal. Neither of you were fazed by this. I was the only one that felt awkward. You thought it was hilarious, and Mallory was like, I thought you were going to be mean. And yeah, so
I didn't realize that was all staged, which is even funnier.
100% staged. Yeah. I assumed you probably sniffed the bit, but I guess not.
No, I was and I just was firmly like, no, tell her to kick rocks. And then when you said no, that's not going to work, I said, okay, well then tell her to pack sand.
So until now, I had street cred of controlling, my household.
Yeah, apparently.
I ruined it. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
Hey, I do want to talk about our little activity that we did last week with
great.
I'm gonna pull this up actually. So I don't even know. It's just like a goofy thing I always do in my head. But when I'm going through the leaderboards, if you Google the leaderboards, it usually shows the first letter of their first name followed by their last name.
Yeah.
And I've always just wondered how many I could get, but never really tested it. And I was like, well, I'm just going to print these out. We're going to see how me and Matt do. So we went through the entire leaderboard for the Charles Schwab Challenge, first letter of the first name and full last name. And we were just trying to see how many first names we could get correct. And so we went through them. We graded them together. You got 65%, right? Is that what it was?
I know I got a D.
Yeah, that's right. You got a big D. I got 85%, which was, honestly, I was disappointed in myself. I thought I could do better. The problem is when you get to the bottom of the leaderboard, there are names that even us dimpleheads have just never heard of. Like, I don't even know where to start. And if it makes you feel better, if it makes it feel like, we chose the right profession by being hobbyist podcasters, Matt Hansen did it. And I think his was in like the 30%, I think.
Oh, yeah. Suck it, Matt.
I'd have to go back and look. But he went and did it. He was like, he did call us dimpleheads. He got, let's see. All right. 35%. So 35% for Matt Hansen from abroad. Also, it took him like 3.5 minutes. So I think there's a lot of names where he's like, yeah, F that.
I mean, that's how I did it. You handed it to me, went back to your office, and I basically followed you back in and handed you my paperwork.
Yeah, it was pretty quick. I went through with all of my 100% certains, skipped the ones that I was hemming and hawing on, and then went back over it one more time. Kind of a fun exercise. It makes me think of when I'm watching highlights of golf tournaments, I'll always mentally try to name the golfer before the name pops up, just based on their stance and swing.
Right.
That's always a fun one.
I'll be honest. Had you asked me, Matt, what percentage do you think you're going to get on this? I think I would have said 75, close to 80%. I had no, I don't know, imagination or assumption that I was going to get in the 90s or the 80%. So I guess that was a little humbling, right? To get in the, a solid 6-5%. And it was really cool of you on that paper to write a giant letter D and circle it like I was in grade school again. That was pretty cool. I appreciated that. Almost 40 years old, and I had to look at a D on a piece of paper again. So that was cool. I like that.
Yeah. Like you said, humbling. Cool. I think cool. I always get fooled when I think about this exercise, because usually the top of the leaderboard are more familiar names. Right. So I'm like, I bet I can get all these. But then it just quickly, I think the last page on our sheet, I don't know that either of us got any of them right.
The very last sheet, there was probably 8 or 9 names. I don't think I wrote anything down. I just was like, that's not happening.
So what do you think, Matt? Should we talk about some pro golf here?
I reckon we could.
So we're 2 tournaments behind here. We had the CJ Cup, Byron Nelson at TPC Craig Ranch. This was like very casual viewing for me. I didn't watch any of like the main coming down the stretch of the tournament. Just a lot of leaderboard watching. One thing that I think is funny about this was there was just a weird acknowledgement about the cost of the renovations they did at TPC Craig Ranch.
I think that's the story of this tournament. Was it 28 million or something like that?
$25 million in renovations, which I guess like I don't know that if just that number alone, I don't really know. Like obviously it's a lot of money, but I'm like, I don't know how much these things cost.
$22 million. And the whole point of it, right, to say out loud, was to keep guys from going low. So if I'm not mistaken, last year the winning score was minus 29. Am I right?
Yeah, you're right.
And then this year, after $22 million of investment, Wyndham Clark shoots a minus 30. And
correction. Sorry, correction. It was minus 31 last year, Scotty Scheffler.
So it takes $22 million per stroke. Got it. That makes sense.
But hear me out. So he shot 31 under last year, Scotty Scheffler did, and the next best score was 23 under. And then the next best score to that was 20 under. So there were 3 people that shot minus 20 or better. And then this most recent week, there were 9 people that shot 20 under or better, followed by a large group of people at 19. So the point is well received, right? Like you would assume that these renovations are to try to, I don't know, make it a little bit more challenging, not make it a huge birdie fest, which I don't know what $25 million buys you in that regard, but obviously it didn't work.
So this is a random stat. I just looked at it. I was just kind of curious. How many rounds over the course of 4 days shot 62 or better? Which, by the way, this is an insane number. That's 10 under. 62 or better. How many over 4 days?
Total out of 4 days?
Yeah.
I feel like it's going to be obnoxiously high, but I'm going to say 10.
8.
Okay.
So round 1, Taylor Moore shot a 62. Friday, Siwoo shot a 60, which was such a bummer. I believe he bogeyed 18.
He did. Yeah.
He bogeys 18, staring down at 59, bogeys 18. Brutal. Jackson Suber and Sungjae Im shot 61s, and Jordan Spieth and Tom Hoagie and Max Gracerman shot 62s. I arbitrarily picked 62. Wyndham Clark shot a 63 on Friday. I guess that's probably important to talk about.
And a 61 on Sunday.
Right.
Nobody
did anything on Saturday. The course is pretty tight, had a 64 and then a grip of 65s. I mean, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 65s. And then on Sunday, Wyndham shoots a 60. And the next closest score on Sunday was Johnny Kiefer with a 63, Jackson Suber with a 63, Garrick Higo with a 63. I mean, where the hell did $22 million go, man? These guys ate this course, spit it out. Spit it out.
This kind of goes to something that you and I have talked quite a bit about. I don't know if it's always on the air or just privately, but like that number doesn't actually matter, right? Like, and we tell ourselves it doesn't matter. Everybody knows it doesn't matter. Like, it's just whoever shoots the fewest amount of golf shots wins. But it's funny when it's just staring us in the face that they're just touting how much money they put into this thing with the clear goal of, not having a 30 under winner. And here we are.
Can I qualify my point here? I've said it before. I enjoy the high scoring rounds and the low scoring rounds all the same. For me, I don't care. If you're telling me, hey, this week, this is going to be a tournament that the winner is going to be somewhere between minus 25 and 30, I go, sick, love birdies. And then if you tell me, hey, this course is probably going to squeeze out a -7 with the winner, -5 is the winner, maybe even over par if we have a a bad weather day one of these days, cool. I truly do not mind either one, right? The only reason I'm being critical of the low scores is because you sunk $22 million into the course to say we're we're defending against the low scores here, buddy.
You know,
Yikes.
this is from my perspective why the number just doesn't matter is as a golf fan, I feel like it's just either the course and the tournament is interesting, and you could use the word however you want, or it's not. Like a good example is the Tournament of Champions at Kapalua in Hawaii. I think Hideki won at like 32 under one year. And it's every year. It's just they dominate this golf course. But I've always enjoyed watching that tournament just because the course is interesting. These guys hit shots that are crazy, weird, that you and I would struggle with, and they just eat it up. And it's just fun and interesting. Whereas TPC Craig Ranch, just I don't find it terribly interesting, regardless of the score. And I don't know. To me, it's just like it almost seems like in hindsight, these guys that were really, really proud about how much money they put into this thing, like just give us a different reason or do the renovations for a different reason altogether, right? Just make it the way you want it and say this was the price tag and we want to make it more interesting, regardless of score. Also, there's just the fact that like this is one time a year that this course is going to be considered easy, right? Like the best golfers on planet Earth are there playing it. So like that number especially means nothing, right? That you and I aren't going to play this course any better than some of the other courses they play, right? Regardless of their scores. This is just the best guys in the world playing these golf courses. And you could expect anywhere they go to be under par, except maybe Winged Foot.
So something that they brought up though, that, you know, some of the golf media was, I mean, this is the Byron Nelson. And which course is it that has the Byron Nelson like statue on the property? Because they used to play it there. Is it the Four Seasons Resort? Do I have that right?
You know, I am not entirely sure.
So if you're going to have these low scores, because I'm looking at the history of the Byron Nelson here, and I mean it increasingly, as you know, as the name CJ Cup Byron Nelson started in 2004, right? And there was tournaments that preceded it that was the same tournament. The scores have just gotten lower, lower, and lower, but they got significantly lower once they moved to Craig Ranch.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's a lot of argument. I saw a bunch, you know, sickos that are even more sicko than us of moving it back to the original course. I mean, I'm looking at this minus 10, 15, 13. I mean, these are respectable. Rory Sabatini got a win in 09 with minus 19. This might be one of those tournaments where the PGA just kind of has taken an L on moving the tournament to the wrong course.
Yeah.
If this sort of scoring situation is important to you, like, then you should prioritize that sort of conversation. For me, I don't care, but I just feel bad for, you know, to feel bad for millionaires. I feel bad for the members who are investing all this money into the course to try to defend against the pros, and they chose the wrong guy to invest in, right? Because that's ultimately what happened here is they chose the wrong guy to make the changes, and he cashed out with several $1 million, and it saved him a stroke. Like, that's brutal.
Now, on the flip side, fast forward to the Charles Schwab Challenge. This is played at Colonial. This tends to be one of those courses that a lot of the touring professionals really enjoy. Although not a very strong field this week. But the winning score was 12 under. Eric Cole and Russ Henley both found their way in the playoff. Russ Henley birdies the first hole of the playoff to get his first win in a while, I believe. I haven't fact checked this, but he's always been that guy probably for the last 3 years, you know, especially as we're having like Ryder Cup discussions. He's always kind of the lock for a lot of guys. So he's been playing good golf, but it doesn't seem like he's winning a ton. So it's good to see him win. I saw a clip of him teeing up his ball and he like hits down on the top of the ball.
Yeah.
And the tag said, if your competitor does this, you don't stand a chance.
Yeah, you're gonna lose. You're gonna lose
just like the body control and like a clear, just so comfortable doing that. Like if we tried that, that ball would come off a tee, no doubt.
So you know what I was thinking about watching? So I saw that same video, and I've thought this with Russell Henley before. And there's a couple guys on tour that have like interesting swings, like they're good swings, but they're not like, it's not Adam Scott, it's not Nelly Korda, it's not Tiger Woods, it's not like these what even a casual person would say, oh, that's a pretty swing. Russell Henley has one of those swings I feel like is for golf sickos, where you just know, you watch him hit the golf ball and you're like, that guy has dialed in what his body is allowing him to do and built the swing that works for him. And he's just out there doing it.
Yeah.
Like Russell Henley is one of those guys. And I might just be full of actual, hoo-ha, but his swing isn't one that you're going to pick to be yours, right? If you get the Neuralink, Elon Musk can download a golf swing into your brain. That's not going to be one you pick, but gosh dang, if he hasn't figured out how to use it, for his benefit, because man,
I want to look up. I wish I knew how to spell his last name, but so I used to work with a guy. His name's David Bonghaloth, and he's a wonderful, wonderful golfer. We worked together, and I knew he golfed, and I knew his handicap. He was like a +2 or 3 at the time, and he's a short guy. I remember at the time he was saying he had young kids, and he's like, gosh, I kind of stopped golfing as much. I'm starting to get a little bit bigger around the belly, so it's messing up my swing. And I just thought he was just messing. Anyhow, so we went and played golf together, and he reminds me of Russell Henley, not necessarily in how their swings look, but he's a +3 handicap with like nothing remarkable about his golf game. And I don't even mean that as a slight. Like he doesn't hit it much longer than your average person. The ball doesn't make like that special sound that you would expect. His ball flight doesn't look like unachievable, but he just shoots 67, 68, 69s everywhere he goes. And it's just remarkable. And that's how Russ Henley is, right? Like he doesn't do that thing that makes us go, oh my gosh, are you serious? Look at that. Like 0 times does he do that, but it's just repetitive. And as you said, it's like, it's clearly a guy who's just mastered his craft with the tools that he's got.
Well, here's chapter 2 to my thought on a Russell Henley swing is, when guys like us who have not plus handicaps are trying to get better, we always think about the guys that have like the perfect mechanics, right? We think of say it again, the Tiger Woods, the Adam Scotts, like these guys that are perfectly on plane, the club face is the perfect angle, every degree is perfect, or, quote perfect.
Yep.
But then you start going down the line and you start looking at other guys that just have different types of swings. And I think it's sometimes like relieving to see guys like Russell who are like, okay, not everything is what a golf coach would teach you, but they're paying attention to, the big things that matter, and figuring out how to make sure that the repetitive moves can happen, put yourself in those places. And Russell Henley's, what is he at? Top 25 in the world, right? Top 10 in the world.
Yeah.
A first world golf ranking number 5. So good for him, man. He, like you said, he's one of those guys that probably should have been on a Ryder Cup and is in prime position right now to be in the next Ryder Cup. So we'll see, man.
I do want to give a quick shout out. I was trying to look for my buddy David's handicap. I don't see him in Gin, but his son, I won't say his name for privacy concerns, even though I already said his last name. I'm guessing his son's like 11, 12, 13, maybe. He's a +2.1 handicap. I'm looking here, on Gin, it shows if it's a competition round, away or home course. He's got a 71 in competition, 73, 68, 67, couple 74s in competition. In fact, the last time I talked to David, he wasn't golfing as much because his son was getting into competitive golf. So he's kind of, traveling him around and kind of being his coach and trainer. So shout out to those guys.
And just a minute ago, you mentioned like the sound it makes. I was doing some yard work, and as you guys know, my new locale is on a golf course.
A country club, just to be clear.
Country club, yes, that's true. And I was doing some yard work. I was in the front yard, and I heard somebody hit a driver, and they hit it, and I was like, a couple things. One, I know for a fact that they're playing from the blacks all the way back, and two, they're not just playing from the blacks. They should be playing from the blacks because that sound was pure gold.
Yep.
And so I walked around the house just to see, and there's a full foursome. And all four of them, I got to see the next three guys hit. All of them had money swings. And my goodness, was it fun to watch. And it was funny that the only reason I walked over there was because I heard the first guy tee off. And it has that sound where you're like, that's the exact center of the club face. And I know that he probably put that ball exactly where he was looking. Yeah, it just makes a different sound, doesn't it?
That's a fun tee shot to sit and watch too, because it's probably of all the fairways there, it's probably I don't want to say it's the hardest one to hit per se, but like there's no easy route to the green on that hole.
So right. I mean, you really are setting yourself up. It's what are those you remember the Goosebumps books when we were kids, the choose your own path?
Yep.
Stories, right? Like, if you want them to go left, you go to page 32. If you want them to go right, you go to page 46.
Yep.
Like, this hole is one of those. Like, you could guarantee safety and go left, but your next shot is going to be super long if you have any chance of getting to the green. Or you could risk it for the biscuit and charge the right OB line over the houses, over the trees. And if you can carry the pond and not go right, you might be able to go for the green in two, and you will definitely have a super easy second shot and lay up onto the green. So it's really a choose your own path hole where everything is laid out based on your tee shot. Like, there's no catching up on your second shot. It's you make your choice of the tee box and put on your boots, I guess. Figure it out.
Hey, so let's shift gears here a little bit. Let's look ahead because we're officially in June. Father's Day is right around the corner, and of course, every year a Father's Day weekend is the U.S. Open. So it's right around the corner. They're going to be going to Shinnecock in 3 weeks, June 18th to 21st. My first, as we're thinking about this podcast and some of our takes, I just want to know your take here. Your guy, Mr. Two Gloves, Aaron Rai, does he stand a chance at the U.S. Open? Like, is this, I feel like every year when you get a guy that wins the major, you immediately put them on your list for the next one. Is he on your list?
I don't know why he wouldn't be necessarily. Like, I feel like he has one of those games where he tends to just kind of be around a lot. You know what I mean?
Especially this year, yeah.
And I maybe I prioritize this more than anybody else, but he hits more fairways than most guys on the tour. And it's hard for me to think that a guy who's hitting that many fairways isn't going to have some sort of opportunity to be at least in the mix. So yeah, I don't know why he wouldn't be, right? I mean, the US Open classically is a course where as long as you stay out of trouble and don't lose strokes, you're in the mix, right? I mean, 10 under is super, super low at a US Open. So yeah, I think you should be in there. If you asked me to make a bet today, 3 weeks out, I would easily give you a top 25 positioning from Aaron Rai. I think he could do it.
Yeah, and I'll be honest, I don't I think we probably would have lumped him into a top 25, regardless of him winning the PGA or not. But it just knee jerk reaction. This doesn't feel like a tournament that he can win. But I agree. I mean, he's been playing phenomenal golf. The back half of last year, so far this year, he got his first major win. But I just don't see it for him. And just to speak to the odds here, so the current odds,
his U.S. Open record, he's played in 3 U.S. Opens. His first one in 2017, he missed the cut, so it's been a minute since his first. And then he didn't make it back to a U.S. Open until 2024. And he got a top 20 at T19. And then 2025 last year got a T33. So his last 2, like, those are respectable positions. Like, if you, I guess I always go back to this. Like, if you were standing next to a guy at the driving range and you got to tell your buddies, hey, I warmed up next to what, insert random name, he got T33 at the US Open last year. Like, you're going to tell your buddies that, right? So that's impressive. So I don't think that it's crazy to think that he could be in the top 20.
It's funny you say that, because I can never remember who it actually is, but there's a guy that plays at Canyon Lakes, and anytime his name comes up, everybody that knows him is like, oh yeah, do you know that he played in the Masters? And I can't even begin to picture his name. I don't know if he played as an amateur or what, but it's just like that exact same story, right? Like, nobody knows who he is, but he played in the Masters. But hey, let's go to the odds. Let's go to the odds really quick. And I'm not a sports gambling guy, but I just do think this is, I don't know, just kind of shows where everybody's head's at when it comes to guys leading into the tournament. So Scotty Scheffler, unsurprisingly, is the favorite at plus 490, followed by Rory at 950. Then you got Rahm and Cam Young at 1,400 and 1,500. And then I'm just going to read off all the names that are ahead of Aaron Rai, okay? And then I want you to guess what his odds are. So in addition to the guys I named, we got Ludwig, Xander, Bryson, Fitzpatrick, Tommy Fleetwood, Brooks, JT, Tyrrell Hatton, Henley, Lowry, Hideki, P. Reed, Patrick Cantlay, Justin Rose, Joaquin Neiman, Sepp Straka, Chris Gotterup, Sam Burns, Colin Morikawa, Siwoo Kim, Jordan Spieth, Ben Griffin, Victor Hovland, Wyndham Clark, Corey Connors, Min Woo Lee, Akshay Bhatia, and Robert McIntyre.
Let me stop you. These are Vegas betting odds?
This is FanDuel's as of today.
Okay. I'm gonna just stop you there. I'm on Data Golf. Where do you think in course fit our boy Aaron Rai fits? Oh wait, hold on. We're talking about, what course am I looking at?
Shinnecock Hills.
Oh crap! Look at.
I was gonna say, I'm gonna answer your question. I'm gonna guess he's probably outside of the top 40 for course fit.
Well, let me look up Shinnecock. I was looking at the wrong course. It shot me over to Muirfield, which he's number 2.
While you're looking that up, so I did reach the end of the names of guys that all are favored to win over Aaron Rai. That seems a little bit of a slight or a little disrespect to Aaron Rai, just after looking at some of these names. But it's just a little bit telling. I don't know. It obviously, the U.S. Open is entirely different test than what we saw at PGA Championship. But I'm just curious to see how he'll do. You talked about his record the last couple of years at the U.S. Open. I don't want to say they're not relevant necessarily, but this is a guy who has gotten better every year for the last 3 or 4 years, to where I think, stepping up this year is going to be an entirely different golfer than what we saw last year.
Well, I want to put something on record here real quick. So using Data Golf, it doesn't want to show you course fit until the week of the tournament. So we're going to have to come back to this.
Okay.
Right. So we've got the Memorial Tournament right now this week at Muirfield Village, which is not a know-nothing tournament, not a know-nothing course.
Signature event.
The guy who fits the model the best is actually Russell Henley. Number 2 is Aaron Rai. Number 2. Followed by Siwoo, Scotty, Brandt Snedeker, Tommy Fleetwood, Matt Fitzpatrick, Alex Noren, Matt Kuchar, JJ Spawn, Lucas Glover. So I'm just going to put it on record here, because I want to have some fun when we come back to the U.S. Open. I'm going to bet our week leading into the U.S. Open, Aaron Rai is in the top 10 course fit for Shinnecock.
Okay. We'll see. We'll see.
That's lovely.
As it stands right now for the Memorial, there are 30 names ahead of him for outright winner from an odds standpoint. That's just Matt. That's
If you're
so
a
much
better,
disrespect.
if you're a gambler and we don't give
Easy.
direction,
I was gonna
you
say we
should
got to disclaim
put
this.
all your money on Aaron Rye to be in the
All
top
right.
30.
Kids, close your ears.
Bet your money on top 30. I mean, come
For
on.
top 30. Well, let's see. I mean, his odds for top, what is this? His odds for top 10 are plus 390.
That's not bad. It's pretty good.
It's actually interesting. He has better odds to top 10 than at least 8 of the guys ahead of him who have better odds to win the tournament. So interesting. And then maybe that's a testament to Aaron Rye's golf game, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, this whole the Matt Caldwell being an Aaron Rye guy kind of in a way started kind of as a tongue-in-cheek movement, but like I'd never had any beef with Aaron Rye's game. I know a lot of guys think of the iron covers are quirky and the double gloves are quirky. Like, you're not wrong, right? That's quirky. That's out of the norm. He's a professional golfer. Protecting your irons isn't a necessity in a way of he can't just get brand new ones every tournament if he wanted to, but it's just something that he feels is important, so he does it, and it is what it is.
Man, it's
outside of those quirky things. It's not a golf game that people have beef with Aaron Rye. You know what I mean? Like, he's a good golfer. Like, outside, if he didn't have iron covers, if he didn't have double gloves or use castle tees, I don't think anybody would say anything negative about Aaron Rye.
You know, it's hard because everything that happened from the time he hit his last putt on the 72nd hole of the PGA Championship was so endearing. Everybody was so happy for him. He said all the right things at the press conference. He's just so extremely genuine that it almost makes the bit on my side a little harder, right? Like, gosh, I feel like a jerk for even making jokes about him, right? But he's got some quirks to him, right? Like, I've always thought that the way he approaches the ball and gets ready to hit his golf shot looks like he is like, have you ever seen people on the golf course that clearly are coming off a lesson and they're not very good at golf and they're like adjusting their body so many times? Like, well, my instructor said this, instructor said that, and it's just very robotic. Like, that's just kind of what he looks like. Yeah. But he's getting better every year. And then he just talks all about like his family values and how important his family was growing up. And you could just tell that that's just the raw Aaron Rye. It's not often that you see a guy win a tournament and you get this insane like uproar of support from other PGA Tour golfers. I'm trying to think the last guy that this happened to, where everybody just was like immediately like, this couldn't happen to a better guy. Maybe Gary Woodland, I think.
So I don't disagree with you. I don't think Gary Woodland has a single person who roots against him. But I was just looking at Aaron Rye's career. Since he's been in the PGA Tour, he has 44 top 20s and 15 top 5s. So in 2022, he had 2. 23, he had 2 top 5s. 24, he had 5 top 5s. 25, he had 4 top 5s. And in 2026, he has 2 top 5s with the win. And a win in 25 and a win in 2024. So, like, he's one of the better professional golfers, man. Like, you have these tiers, right? Like, you have the top echelon golfers, and there's like 4 of them. It's Rory McIlroy, it's Scotty Scheffler, it's who do you put in that top percentage there outside of those 2 guys?
Rahm, Bryson.
I guess you would if they weren't in live, right? The second tier are these guys that are winning, I don't know, 3 tournaments a season, 2 tournaments a season, maybe 1. And the next tier, like the third tier down, are just guys that don't win, but get top 5s and top 25s.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we repeat this on this podcast so many times. Winning on the PGA Tour is so freaking difficult. It's so hard. The best guys on tour on a good season are winning 5, 6, maybe 7 tournaments on if they are on fire. 5 tournaments a year. 5. That's it. And that's the best golfer on the planet that year. The next best guy wins maybe 2. Maybe. And then you're in the third tier. You probably don't even win a tournament, but you have maybe 1 or 2 top 5s, a couple top 10s, and then a handful of top 25s, and that's it. And you just didn't miss cuts.
So it's interesting you're talking about kind of that certain tier, because you're right. I mean, like at the end of the season, there's only the list of PGA Tour winners is only so long, and it tends to be a lot of the same guys grabbing all these wins, right? So it's hard to win on tour. And it just made me think of an article I read on Golf Digest. I'm going to go up and give credit to him, from Ryan Harrington, about Patrick Rogers. Are you familiar with Patrick Rogers?
I am familiar with Patrick Rogers.
He's a Washington State guy, broke all sorts of records at Stanford, and he has been on the PGA Tour forever, it seems. I think we may have talked about him a while ago because he got credit for, it was like his 300-something PGA Tour start. He's in the record books for it, for I think most starts without a win or something. And the article is titled, "Does a successful PGA Tour career require winning?" And there's just some cool quotes in here, because I think this kind of answers some of the questions of, like, I don't know, like, how do you keep doing it for so long? And I'm just going to read some of his quotes here. End quote, "The struggle cut deeper than I ever imagined. Every miscut somehow felt like the worst one. Every bogey on the last left a pit in my stomach. Watching my peers achieve the success I desperately chased chipped away at my ego and my belief. Hundreds of what ifs, thousands of hours of effort with nothing to show for it." Then he goes on to say, "And yet I'm incredibly blessed. I play a game for a living. I've earned far more than I deserve, but none of that erases the internal battles, the weight of expectation, the fear of falling behind, and the quiet pressure of survival. Golf can be beautiful and brutally honest." End quote. So what I think is cool about that is, like, Patrick Rogers is a guy, there's 1,000 Patrick Rogers out there, right? We all know these guys that you kind of recognize their name. I guess he seems a little bit more recognizable than others to me, but there's so many versions of Patrick Rogers out there who just go on their entire career never winning. Maybe they get 1 win or 2 wins, but otherwise they're just hanging around the tour for 10, 15, 20 years. And it's just interesting. Sometimes you wonder if they're, like, content with that, right? And I think this kind of answers that question, that, like, clearly this is a weight that he carries with him.
So as long as we're talking about the same Patrick Rogers, I don't know how many Patrick Rogers are on the PGA Tour. But the question of, can you have success on the PGA Tour without winning on the PGA Tour? And if you're honest with yourself, the answer is a resounding hell yes. You can have success on the PGA Tour. Because let's boil it down real quick. If your career path that you choose is, I'm going to go be a professional golfer, I think a really good way at looking at what that means is just pretend you, as a golfer, are a prize fighter, right? And so every tournament, right, you're an independent contractor. You have qualifications to get into certain tournaments based on your independent contractor status. And in this case, your independent contractor status on the PGA Tour. So you have to qualify for it, right? There's other tours that you can qualify for as an independent contractor. And in this case, we're talking PGA. So in that case is, can I be successful without winning? Well, what is success? Well, success in a household is providing for your family, right? Putting food on the table, providing heat in the winter and cool in the summer, food on the table. Patrick Rogers is probably a guy that most golf fans, I would say greater than 90%, have never heard of. Over the course of his career, he has amassed $20.6 million. 20.6. If you don't think that guy has found success, I think you need therapy. Like, what is success to you? If since 2015, so 11 years, not even 11 full years, your income has been $20 million. Yeah, that's success, man. Golf is hard. You're a prize fighter. Go get your status, keep qualified, and you're going to have a really interesting life. It's going to be fun.
I think that's kind of the point of this article is like, obviously you and I can sit here and say, well, he's a lot more successful than me, right? I think he might be my age. He's 33. He's younger than I am.
33, yeah.
He's made over $20 million in his career. Like, obviously that's just like generally successful, right? But I mean, obviously this is a thing that weighs on him. He's aware of it. He's 50 starts away from breaking the record of most PGA Tour starts without a win, held by Bobby Watkins, 378 appearances without a win. But like, it's obviously a success. Like, if you ask Patrick Rogers at the end of his career, was that a successful career? He'd probably feel like a jerk because he'd probably want to say no. Like, imagine doing a thing. So he turned pro in 2014. Imagine doing a thing for 12 years professionally and you just never actually win. I think that's what is the hard part about golf is these guys are the best in the world. They probably won so many tournaments as kids and then become a pro and they just never win. They never hold a trophy.
So I would love to interview a guy like Patrick Rogers. Like, for me, Patrick Rogers might actually be more fun to interview than a Scotty Scheffler, to be honest. Because I think talking to him about like being grounded and having a grasp of reality while also having immense success compared to, I don't know, your average Joe. I think the perspective with him would be so unique. Because I would be so interested in how he feels when he gets, what are we looking at? Let's look at the his last 25 starts. When he gets a T40 at the Valspar. Like, how's your feeling when you're headed back home, right? Like, I'm genuinely curious, right? Waste Management Open, he got T60. So he makes the cut T60. So he's towards the bottom of the guys that got to play the weekend. It's like, what's your feeling there? Like, I'm sure it's not great. Like, I don't think you're going home celebrating like, I got T60 at Waste Management. But I would be willing to bet like his perspective on life and golf is different than the Scotty Schefflers, the Brooks Koepkas, the Phil Mickelsons, the Tiger Woods. I would bet that he has different priorities and where he's like, would I have liked to play better? Yes. And I'm going to put everything I can into winning, right? Because that's my job. But I'm really curious what his mindset is and how he resets at the end of those tournaments. Because if you're too hard on yourself and you start having the career that Patrick Rogers is having, I don't think you can do it for the length of time that Patrick Rogers is doing it.
Yeah, it definitely takes a certain level of grit, if you will. I mean, I'm just looking at his career earnings. Since 2014, so his first full year as a pro golfer on the PGA Tour, he's only made less than $1 million one time in 2020 and 2021. Which is interesting because he played more events that year than any other year in his career. But I mean, he's from a dollars and cents standpoint, like he's bringing in the dough, and so he's able to provide for his family in a relatively consistent manner. But it's just gotta be hard, right? In a certain way, you probably convince yourself that you're just not going to win one of these things, and like your standards just change. But I agree with you. I think that would be a much more interesting interview than some of these guys that get a mic thrown in them everywhere they go. But hey, Matt, I think I got my kiddo bugging me. She's ready for bed. We're about to hit up on the hour mark here. Put it in your notes that we're going to check out Aaron Rice Course Fit a week before Shinnecock Hills as we lead into the U.S. Open. And then we'll definitely be talking more about just major championships as a whole leading into the U.S. Open as we got two of them done and over with, and we got the back half of the major season coming our way.
I love it, buddy. And you know what? I'm going to shoot a flyer out there. I'm gonna try to get Patrick Rogers, man. We're gonna try to get Patrick Rogers on here.
Hey, he's a Washington State guy. Okay, bring him home.
Let's do it. I'll talk to you later, buddy. Love you.
All right. Thanks for listening.